Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to do my top picks for 2024, my top picks of movies / films, music, and of course books. I can honestly say this year I had a really good year. I honestly did. Personal and professional. I did things out of my comfort zone. I read things out of my comfort zone, met new people. Look, still like my job, grew more on YouTube because of you guys, and overall I can say it was a really good year. I am praying and I am speaking into existence. Next year, 2025, will be a great year just like it was this year. Also, I want to extend those wishes to you guys. I put into existence, it's going to be a very prosperous, faithful, great year 2025. But again, like I said, I did want to share my recap. So before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so let's get into the books that I read this year. My Goodreads goal was 50 books this year. I read a total of 83 books. Now y'all know later in the year I was struggling with that TBR. I put too many books on there. I'm not doing that anymore. I would say I still want my goal for next year, 2025, to be 50 books. And I know that I can surpass 50 books. I was very shocked that I read 83 books. This is the first time ever in my reading journey that I've read that many books. But I always say I care about the quality of books more than the quantity of books. But I know that I can surpass 50 books. I know I can read 50 books because in the past 3-4 years I've read over that, so yeah, we're gonna stick to 50. But like I said, I read 83 books this year. I had 3 top books. So the first one is a classic, which is rare for me, but it was Silas Manor by George Eliot. Now you guys know this year I had so many kicks. I went through a romance kick, which I'm still going through, and I went through a classic kick. And I always said that classics for me, they were always laborious, because y'all know when you read them, they have those long passages and it's just like, what are y'all talking about? It can just be so boring to me. So I really wanted to start reading, more classics. That was one of my goals for, 2024. And what I did is I started off with something small, something that didn't have a lot of pages, and this kind of interests me. And when I read it, I said, oh yeah, fantastic. I have a video of classic literature that is not boring. After I read this, I started doing my research of finding books by classic, by classic writers that is not boring, that has, like I always say, that drama and that tea. It's about a young man named Silas. He lives in a small town, but he has to flee because something happened. And when he does that, he just stays to himself. He stays isolated. Only thing he does is he's a weaver, so he, does his job. He collects his money. He comes back home and he counts his gold, which is basically like his coins, which is his money, right? One day, it's completely gone. Someone steals it, and he is just, oh my gosh, you can imagine somebody stole all your money. And he's just like, I don't even want to live anymore. I'm just done. But one day, a little girl stumbles upon his doorstep, a toddler, just walking. And he's like, you know what? I'm by myself. I don't have anyone to love, vice versa. So I'm going to take care of this child. And you see the relationship. You see how the town reacts to it. This was so good. This was very short. It was only 170 something pages. I would highly recommend it. It was not boring. I also watched the movie for this, and it was really good. They stuck to, the plot. But yeah, this was good. Next is, oh Lord, Truman Capote, Answer Prayers. I did a read a book in one day about this book. It's a collection of short stories, and I just got so into Truman Capote this year because of a TV show, and I did not know that his life was so fascinating. I had known of Truman Capote because I knew the book In Cold Blood, but I didn't know his personal life. This man was a character. For this in particular, these stories were published in Esquire magazine back in the 70s, I believe. And there were 3 short stories, but they did not go well because he told all of his friends all of his friends' business, like personal business. And Truman was an openly gay man, and a lot of his friends were women. He called them the Swans, and they were like high society women, like New York society. Lee Raswell, who is Jackie Kennedy Onassis' sister. You had Babe Paley. She was a socialite also. Her husband was like the co-founder of, I think it's NBC or CBS, one of those networks. Like, he dealt with people of that like level, you know, Gloria Vanderbilt, like things, you know, people of that level. And he told all of their business in some of these stories. The main one, the Lacote boss, girl, he told up some stuff. And if you guys have watched I Read a Book in One Day with me reading this, I have clips of him talking about it. I have clips of other people talking about the book. I also have clips of him justifying, you know, why he wrote it and all of that. Very, very interesting man. Towards the end of his life was very sad. He was, you know, ostracized, isolated. He started to drink and all of that, and he just really went downhill. But when I tell you, he is a fantastic writer. Because of this book, I really got, like I said, into him this year and bought a lot of his literature. If you are looking for something classic literature, also if you're looking for something that's entertaining, I would highly recommend Truman Capote. And then the last book, This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I also have a reading blog on this where I read both of the books. The first book from the Skyland series and this book. Y'all know I like to read books when everyone reads books, so I wanted to wait to read before I let go, and I needed to be in the mood for, like, you know, romance. And after I read that, I said, oh, I have to read this right away. I have to read it, and I'm so glad I did. When I was reading before I let go, I kept on thinking about Soledad's, you know, situation with her husband and three girls, because it was kind of like an open ending, like what's happening, especially if you read Before I Let Go, like towards the end, it's a cliffhanger with, you know, their relationship. So she just picks it back up, and when I tell you I love this book so much, I actually, just talking about it and thinking about it, I really want to read this again. This was so good where I remember when I was reading this book, I was driving back home from work, and I said, oh Lord, I cannot wait to watch This Could Be Us. And I started laughing at myself. I'm like, girl, that's a book. That ain't no movie. Like, that's how visual Kennedy Ryan's works is, and especially with this book. I would have to say, out of the three girls, Soledad is my favorite. I really did like Before I Let Go. I gave Before I Let Go 4.5 stars. I gave this 5 stars. I am really intrigued to see who are they going to cast for, you know, the friends, because this has been optioned for, I believe, a TV show, Peacock, I believe. So yeah, I can't wait to see it. But this was so good, and I cannot wait for the third book, Hendrix. So that is it for the books. Now, for movies and TV shows, I actually have 3 TV shows. I didn't have any top movies, but the first is Bridgerton. Now, I had never watched Bridgerton when it first came out. It didn't do nothing for me. And I was at my sister's house, and she said, have you watched it? I said, no, I tried to, and I just, And she said, let's try and watch it. So I sat on her couch, and I was kind of intrigued. And it kept on going and kept on going. That night when I went home, I picked it back up. And so I watched the first season, watched the second. Don't like the second. The second was boring to me. Second was boring. The third one was my favorite. I would say out of the Bridgerton siblings, what's his name? Benedict is my favorite, and I cannot wait to see how they're gonna, you know, do his story, because if you have read the books, his story is a Cinderella retelling. And this year, because I, you know, had watched the TV show, I read the whole entire series, which I would recommend. If you guys do that, do it by audio, because some of those Regency romance are gonna be kind of boring. So I did read it by audio. I think it was 1 or 2 books I didn't read through audio, but overall, like I said, I would suggest you guys, you know, if you want to read the Bridgerton series, read it through audio, because you can get through it a little faster. But yeah, he's my favorite, and my favorite character in the Bridgerton series is Lady Danbury. Like, obsessed with her. So yeah, but season 3 was my favorite, because I really did like Penelope, and I like Colin, and I love the way that it ended. So yeah. Next is Disclaimer. This is on Apple TV, and it came out in October. Now, this is it's a thriller, which usually I don't really do thrillers, but this show actually introduced me to thriller books. I did not know that this was based on a book. It's a book by Renee Knight. I talked about it before. You have, and I like too that the show, it did stick to, you know, the book. But you have Kate Blanchett and Kevin Kline. They're the main, you know, actors in this TV show, this limited series. And you have a woman who's played by Kate Blanchett. She is like an award-winning journalist. She has a husband. She has an adult son. And one day a package comes to her house and it's a book. And the book is called Disclaimer. And she starts to read the book and she realizes it's about her. And she has harbored a secret for years. I mean, over 20 years. No one knows. Her husband doesn't know. Her son, like no one. Her mom, no one. And when you find out what's going on, oh Lord, it just, that whole situation is so catastrophic, and you just see how it unfolds. This was so good. I loved the book and I loved the TV show. I mean, I had never seen anything like this, and I was glued to the television. It was a weekly series, and so I think it came out every Thursday. 7 episodes, I believe. Y'all, please watch it. And lastly is Feud, Capote versus the Swans. Because I had, you know, watched this limited series, that's when I became aware more of his works. And y'all know, like I said, Answer Prayers is one of my top books this year. And again, a fascinating man. But yeah, I think I was just so fascinated how he just told all their business. And it was some tea. You hear me? Again, if you guys watched Read a Book in One Day, which I'll put it down below, you will see some passages. You will see, I read some passages of what all the tea that he told and all their, you know, secrets and stuff. It was some secrets, I tell you that. It's secrets that you won't forget, okay? A particular scene, I would say, dealing with an affair and a woman, you're not gonna forget it. Lastly, let's do music. I had 4 top artists. First artist I'm gonna mention, they've been on my list, I think last year, is Bebe and Cece Winans. I mean, I'm just a Bebe and Cece Winans fan. I love the Winans. I love the whole family. And I had the privilege of seeing Cece Winans in concert this year, and it was fantastic. She just sounds so amazing. She's so pretty. You know, she has that grace, you know, a Christian woman. I love Cece. So seeing her live was just like, check off my bucket list. Next is SWV, the 90s group. Now, I mean, I'm a 90s kid, was born in the 90s, and you cannot mention 90s R&B music without mentioning SWV. I mean, come on now. I also had the privilege of seeing them this year. I went to the Queens of R&B concert, and they were the headliners along with Escape. They had 702, Total, and the singer Maya, and it was fantastic. Those women look amazing. The fact that those women are in their 50s and they look, girl, like 30s, okay? And they sound so well. And I mean, y'all know, SWV got bops. They got bops on bops on bops. So yes, they were my top for this year. Next is an independent artist named Laya. I also believe I had her last year. I really like her because she gives you straight R&B. Not that nonsense where that pop R&B. No. I don't want no pop in my R&B. I want straight R&B, like 90s R&B. She gives you that. I would say one of my songs that I just had on rotation this year is a song called Ain't Saying About It, and she has several remixes. I love all of them. She is really good. She's very underrated, but she can sing, and again, I love that straight R&B. It gives you straight R&B, and I love that. And lastly is Amy Winehouse. Now, I have been aware of Amy Winehouse. I remember when she passed, and I think I actually had on my iPod Rehab, because I really love that song and I love the video. And I don't know how I just stumbled upon her again, and I know what it is. They did a movie about her life this year. I haven't seen it. I don't plan on seeing it, but I watched it was an interview with the actress talking about it, and they were just talking about her life. I believe it was like CBS News or whatever. And I said, you know what? I really want to listen to her full-length album. You guys know I like to listen to full-length albums. And loved it so much that Back to Black, I believe, I bought the vinyl. And yeah. Tears Dry on Their Own is one of my favorites. Me and Mr. Jones, of course, Rehab. But I really like Amy Winehouse. I like her songwriting. Obviously I like her voice. It has that kind of soul, you know. She really was a great musician. She's a vibe too. She is a vibe. Yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to my top books, music, and TV shows for this year. Again, really great year. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. Because of you guys, I get a little coin for this. I just love that I can share my hobby with you guys. The fact that we go back and forth, you know, talking about books, and you guys share books with me and vice versa. So thank you guys so much. I also want to thank you guys for joining my book club. We will continue. It's been what? This is our second year, so we're going into our third year. Lex Reads Book Club. Want to join? The form is always down in the description box. Join us. We always have a good discussion. And again, thank you guys so much. I wish you well wishes. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next year. Bye, guys.